Hey everyone, it's that time of year again where the MLB draft is here upon us, and so I'm going to show you a quick little video on how to scrape every draft that's ever happened in the MLB and put it into, we'll say, a pseudo database, essentially just making a CSV file, and then how to acquire some prospect data for the draft 2021 prospects from FanGraphs. Now, I've added some CSV files already to my GitHub page because I've gotten a lot of questions about, hey, how do I access a CSV file from a GitHub page without having to copy and paste? And so that's a great question. So first, before we get started, let's make sure we load in library, baseball R, and tidyverse. Those are the two necessary packages that we'll need for this video. Now, you can kind of see that I've already code written and we're reading in CSV files, and you see it's a URL. And it's basically a URL to my GitHub page for this specific video. There's three different data sets. So the first data set's hitting, the second data set's pitching, and the third data set is summary data. And I will show you shortly how to access that, or how to access that URL so you can put it into that read CSV function. Here we are on my YouTube GitHub page. Just follow that link. I always leave the link in the description below, but when you are on this page and you come across CSV files like the three that are listed here, and you want to load them in directly into R, here's the best way to do it. So click on a CSV file. You'll see the CSV data is present here. And what you'll do is you'll click on Raw. And Raw will automatically move you to that link where you'll just copy it and paste it into your R environment, where you can say whatever the data frame you want to call it, read CSV, and then that link. We now have the data that you can pull directly from my GitHub by getting that link and then putting it into a read CSV command. So let's load in the three links that are on my GitHub page. And now what we're going to do next is we are going to go through each of the CSV files that are given. So, as you can see, these are all the draft 2021 prospects. So you have hitting and pitching side, and you have certain metrics. Now, you can see that it's separated between current hit, future hit, etc. This was pulled from FanGraphs. And basically, how that's going to work is, I did a similar video a while back on pulling minor league data, and I showed you how to split these columns into current and future columns by using basically string split to split the current and future into separate columns. So if you want to see that, I'll leave a link in the description below as well. But you can see current and future hit, pitch selection, and bat control. That's something that's been recently added. Current and future game power, current and future raw power, current and future speed, and current and future fielding, as well as average exit velocity, heart rate percentage, and max exit velocity. But you can see there's a lot of missing data there, which is understandable. That is hard to come by. On the pitching side, we have player name, Tommy John date, what kind of fastball type the pitcher has, current and future fastball, current and future slider, current and future curveball, current and future changeup, current and future command, and then if there's any spin rate data for their fastball and breaking ball, as well as their fastball minimum and maximum range, as well as what they top out at. So once we have those two, now we can look at the summary data, which is just basically their prospect ranking, where they're ranked at in the top 100, their position, player type, so college, hitter, COLH, high school, age, height, weight, bats, throws, school, college commitment, future value, plus. So that plus column is based on what FanGraphs says. So if they, in this case, Brady House, If it says Y4 plus, that means his future value is 45 plus. A report, a video, and then frame, athleticism, levers, arms, statistical performance, delivery. So how those work is if it's a 2, it's a plus plus. If it's a 1, it's a plus. If it's 0, it's neutral. -1 is minus, and then -2 is minus minus for all of those. So their body frame, how much athleticism, statistical performance, and then pitching delivery on those fronts. You can see kind of in the the video section, all of them are YouTube results. So what we're going to do with that is basically you can copy and paste the link into your browser and it'll pull up a list of results from YouTube for that particular player if you want to see video on that particular player. So that being said, let's merge all of this data together first. So simply how you do that is we're going to do a couple of left joins. So let's do summary with hitting. So I'm going to shorten this down to just draft 2021. And we're going to say left join from the dplyr package. I'm going to say draft 2021 summary. And then draft 2021 hitting. Then by equals name. Now another way to kind of make it more solidified if they're both in there, so see both rank is in there as well. So what we're going to do is add them both. So instead of saying by name, we're going to say by C parentheses name comma rank. So we'll get that left join draft 2021 data. And now we can see for some players we have that current and future raw power data as well. And now we're going to do a second left join. So again, draft 2021, left join, this time draft 2021, and then draft 2021 underscore pitching. And again, we'll say by combine name rank. And now we have from that FanGraphs board all of the draft 2021 data that they have, as well as scouting reports and video, which again is just a YouTube link to the search results. So I'll show you that right now. So I'll say draft 21 $sign. We'll go to video and then 3. So we can see when you copy and paste this URL into your browser, it will pull up all results of the search query of Jack Leiter MLB draft. And so if you want to look at video of Jack Leiter, you can definitely see that. And so now all that draft 2021 data is paired together. You can compare and make some comparisons and see which player has the highest of each metric, and we'll look into that a little bit later. But what I'm going to show you next is how to basically create your own draft database. And I'm just saying it's a pseudo database because really we're just going to write a CSV file. So again, make sure baseball R is loaded. And we're going to say MLB draft data. And so we're going to say 1965 to 2020, since those were the first year of the MLB draft, and the 2020 draft was the latest. And we're going to say per map. I'm going to say function X. We're going to say get draft MLB X. So what that'll do is it'll loop through every year of the MLB draft, put it in basically a list, and then we're going to create that list of data frames into a singular table or data frame, if you will. So again, takes a minute or two to run. After you have the MLB draft data in that list, what we're going to do now is create a data frame. And so we're going to say MLB draft, bind rows, MLB draft data. So what bind rows does basically is takes those list of data frames, those 56 data frames, and allows us to put it into one singular table or data frame. And then we'll say select negative person xref ID. So for whatever reason, when I ran this before, that was telling me it came out as a list. We don't want that, so boom. Now, to have it saved onto your desktop or wherever your working directory is in R, simple way is you just say write underscore CSV, the data frame you just called it, so MLB draft, and we'll say MLB underscore draft 1965 to 2020 .csv. Call it whatever you want. That's what we'll call it in this case. Write it. It'll take a second or two. Boom. Now we can test it out and say, let's call it test, and we'll say read underscore CSV MLB underscore draft 1965 2020 CSV. And it has all that data there. So now you have every pick from 1965 to 2020. Now what we're going to do next is I'm going to show you some basic plots that you can look at for the reports on those draft prospects from this year. Let's look at a few plots of the draft 2021 data, and you can kind of see some code already written, and these are just quick ways to show you how to create these plots. So we're going to basically do dplyr and then mesh it with ggplot. So what we're doing here is we're going to say draft 2021, the data frame, filter future raw power, arrange future raw power, and then ggplot AES x equals name, y equals future raw power, plus geom_call AES fill equals player type plus theme classic. And what we're showing here is draft eligible guys that have a future raw power of 65 or better. And again, this is on the 20 to 80 scouting scale, so 50 is average, 60 is plus, 70 is plus plus, so Brady House has incredible future raw power, as if it's an 80 grade, that means it's best in the world. That's in comparison with like the top major league power hitters right now, based on this analysis. And then another one we could do is figure out which pitchers top out at 97 miles an hour or more. So we can run this again, filtering out those pitchers that top out at 97 or more, arrange it, then ggplot AES x equals name, y equals tops, geom_call AES fill equals player type plus theme classic, and we can see we have a list of players. This is a good way for you guys to see who's available in terms of what you want to look at. We can do some more analysis, so we can look at which guys are risky. So we can say draft 2021, or how many of the scouted players are what kind of risk in terms of volatility. So we can say draft 2021, group by risk, summarize risk totals equals n. And we'll say ggplot. We don't have to say the data set because we're just combining the two together. That's the difference. If you want to create a separate data frame and then add in that ggplot, you need to add in that data set. So AES x equals risk, y equals risk totals, and then geom col AES color, or excuse me, fill equals blue. We'll just say blue. And theme classic. So we can see, well, don't add the AES into the aesthetic. You don't want that fill equals blue. There we go. So we can see most of the players are high risk. Very few players are low risk, and about 20 or so players are medium risk. Another way you can show that is by saying geom text AES label equals risk totals, and then we will nudge it. Don't add that plus, comma, nudge y equals 1. So you see 45 players are high risk in this draft. 7 are low risk and 19 are medium risk, and you can create a basic plot of it. So thank you so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed this video and acquiring all that draft data, and then joining the current draft prospects, and hope you enjoy the draft over the next few days, and have a great rest of your day.